There are two occasions in the gospel where Martha and her sister Mary are very prominent. The one that is probably foremost in our awareness is the famous incident when Jesus and his disciples came as guests in their home at Bethany. And Martha went to Jesus and complained at one point because Mary was sitting at the feet of Jesus listening rather than helping her take care of her guests. This scene, this scene I think is even more revealing of the character of Martha than the first. They are both important. The first one emphasizes Martha as a woman of practical service and hospitality. Even in the midst of that, though, she is reminded by Jesus not to let the details of hospitality overwhelm the simple fact of welcoming those with whom you are spending time and being attentive to them. But in this particular scene, we see Martha and Mary in a moment of suffering. Their brother Lazarus has died, and they are mourning him. They inform Jesus of his sickness, but he delays coming because he has an intent to do something that will be even more remarkable than simply healing Lazarus. Lazarus will be raised from the dead. And in this wonderful exchange between Martha, who goes to meet Jesus, and again says, "If you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I believe that whatever you ask of God, God will give you." And Jesus probes her faith and says, "Your brother will live." There were Jews who believed in Jesus' day, but not all Jews believed in the resurrection of the just on the last day. Jesus probes Martha's awareness, and she says, "Yes, I believe he will rise on the last day." But then Jesus takes advantage of this moment to give a very powerful teaching to her about his own ministry and power. "I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, even if he dies, will never die, will live. And anyone who lives and believes in me will never die." And then he says, "Do you believe this?" And Martha says, "Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, the one who is coming into the world." So we see a very different aspect of Martha. Martha, the woman of faith. And we do a disservice to her by simply identifying her as a busybody or a hostess. All the while that she was serving Christ, she was also developing a deep relationship with him that is shown so beautifully in this moment when in her vulnerability and need she confesses her belief in Jesus. We celebrate the Feast of St. Martha 1 week after the feast of Mary Magdalene, or Mary of Magdala. For some time in the church's history, it was believed that Martha's sister was Mary Magdalene, but we know that that is not the case. But Martha is lifted up as a woman of humble service, graciousness, and in this instance, incredible faith. Faith that expresses itself in the moment of her greatest vulnerability, the loss of a loved one. As I said at the beginning of Mass, for all these reasons, the Church lifts up Martha as an example to us. That we serve the Lord in our brothers and sisters, that we are gracious in welcoming them and meeting their needs, that we also, in the midst of all of that practical living of our faith, take time to develop our relationship with Christ and come to know who he truly is. In a sense, this is the culminating moment of Martha's life. We hear nothing about her afterward, but here she expresses so beautifully the faith of all who have come to understand who Jesus truly is and the power that he has in raising even the dead to new life. May our faith in him be equally profound.